Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live Boldly with Sarah. Today I have on Joe. Joe, would you like to introduce yourself? How far back do we go?
We go back about 33 years,
No big deal.
more than that,
More than
um,
that.
if you
Yeah.
count before high school.
So for those of you who don't know, because I've been a little quiet on this one, is we have been seeing each other for the last year. We met 1 year ago yesterday. And this is releasing on my mom's, the anniversary of, well, it would be her birthday, actually. So she'd be
Uh,
86.
yep.
She'd be 86 on August 14th. So I wanted to have this conversation. I talked to Joe about this and I said, hey, how do you feel about coming on and doing a little quick jam session on relationships, more so than anything, the wild journey that this last year has brought the both of us and how it actually happened, because there's three pieces that I've really been sitting with over the time when I was single, because I've been single for a long time, and the fact that I was like, I ain't never getting into a relationship again. Were you kind of in that space?
I was in the exact same,
We were in the
yes,
exact same
exact same
space, but
place.
I
Yeah.
want him to actually be the
Yes, I
person.
was. Yeah.
Yes, you were. And so I think that so many of us, when we have come out of relationships that are difficult, we tend to put this barrier on even getting into a new relationship. And, or we, just are like, I don't want to step into that because I might get hurt. Something might happen. I don't want to go through what I already experienced because it was really difficult. And as I was talking to my last retreat group up in the San Juan Mountains last weekend, one of the things that we were talking about was pulling up anchor, right? And how at some point you have to pull up anchor if you choose to step into a relationship that's healthy, that's fun, that is sometimes exactly the opposite that you've ever had, in our case, anyhow. So let's dive into this. So, how this happened. So I remember when I was 12 years old ish,
Yeah.
and we went to the same church, and it was a catechism class. And I remember walking into catechism class and seeing Joe, and I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And then fast forward, we were in high school together, and our lockers were next to each other.
Yeah.
And which was very funny because I was always like, oh gosh, then I'd like be next to the locker, the cute guy. And then it's funny because we went to midwinter dance together
hmm
when we were 14-ish, 15. I don't think,
15.
was it 15?
So,
Okay. Wow. We look really young in that picture. We've one picture of proof that we actually went to midwinter dance together. And then that was it. Like we, went through high school, we both went to the same college, but never saw each other. Never. And then my mom passed away in 2022. And this is where the story gets really interesting. And this goes into the three things that I want everybody to really pay attention to when it comes to your life and forging relationships. So 2022 hit, my mom passed, but before she passed away, I had this conversation with her because I'd come out of a really hard relationship, very, very hard relationship. And it wasn't long, but it was just difficult breakup. And I told my mom that I was going to write down all the things that I wanted in a relationship if I ever stepped into one. And one of the things that she always told me was, you know what, Sarah, you know what I really want? And I'd go, what? And she's like, I want you to meet somebody from back home. I want you to get into a relationship with somebody that you know, that is from from your the surrounding area, somebody that you can lean on, that you can trust, that is going to be more of what is your compatibility. Now understand that at that point I had already been through so many hard relationships that I didn't even know my own compatibility,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And I only knew what I knew, which was working in a relationship that was hard and difficult, and feeling like so often you were the person that had to give of yourself or compromise, right? To just make it work and make the peace and have it be okay. And so when she told me that, I remember, and it wasn't long before she passed away. And I remember like, yeah, right, mom, like who am I ever going to meet from back home? Because I live in California. So fast forward, she passes away. And then it was 1 year you came to her service,
Mhm.
one of the services, to pay your respects because lived in a very small town and my parents know of everyone. And then it was 1 year later, and I had posted something on Facebook, and you made a comment under the post. And so I commented to his comment. And then you sent me a text,
Yeah.
and I finally responded after a long time because I wasn't going to, because I was like, nah, whatever. Uh, and then we went out 1 year ago,
Yeah.
and that was it. It was like, oh my gosh, like there's so much in common here. And it was everything that my mom was telling me. It was everything that my mom was telling me. So here's my question for you. Here we go. How has it been for you? Like, what is the thing? And we were talking about this last night. We went to go watch the Perseid meteor show
Yeah.
together. How has this last 12 months, what has this taught you? Or how has this been for unfolding for you in because we're two very different people, yet not, which is what's really funny.
Yeah.
So what has it been like? What have you learned most?
It's a roller coaster. I learned from it the most because we talked about it quite a bit yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't start the day off the best, which led into some really great stuff.
Really great conversations too.
I guess the biggest thing, because even when we went out that night like a year ago,
Yeah.
um, neither of us were expecting anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there was no expectations, not trying to be somebody that we weren't. It was just nice being yourself and being so natural, and we just hit it off. But through the course of the year, and getting back into a relationship that you weren't looking for,
Never expected.
some of your past triggers would come up,
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that was not your new person's fault, things would trigger, and so you would react to each other that way. So that was a hard learning process, but it was also very good
Mm-hmm.
because it taught us tolerance and knowing that the relationship was more than just, you know, liking the good times and not being able to work through the difficult times.
Yeah.
And that's been, I mean, amazing. One of the greatest gifts of it. And then, like I said to you yesterday, I think so many of us have so many expectations of what we want our partner to be, and we change our behavior to try to attract something. And I told her how we reconnected. It was we were having that moment yesterday morning. We were hugging, and I said to her, I said, this is a perfect example. When we first met, when you expect nothing, sometimes you're given the greatest gift.
Yeah.
And I think in relationships, and people from your retreat, even when they talk, like, how do I meet somebody like that? How do I meet that somebody? They're all looking on apps. They're trying so hard, looking so hard, instead of just being themselves. And prior to meeting you, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I
No,
was
I
just
wasn't
having
either.
fun. I was living, I was traveling, and it attracted so much. And lo and behold, attracted us together. And we
Mm-hmm.
found out how many similarities and interests we had. And it was just great when you just relaxed and didn't work so hard at it.
Ooh, that was good.
You know, when we saw the butterfly today, when we saw your
Yeah.
mother's gravesite, you know, it reminded me of that saying, just like this, you know, if you chase butterflies, they just keep going away. But if you build a beautiful garden, you attract them. And that's how I feel like this whole year was. But then it's the work.
It's the work.
It's the work. You
It's
might
the
see
work.
smiling faces on podcast and when people are out and about, but it's work.
I think that the coolest thing for me has been because we don't live near each other. I mean, we do have to work at this because we don't live near each other. And we both have busy lives with families and responsibilities and jobs and, all the things. I think the coolest part though is that when we do come together, we've done some pretty epic stuff, you guys. Like we've climbed Gorgonio together, Cucamonga, Mount Baldy once or twice. I don't even know, at least once.
Mhm.
We did a 10-mile snowshoe hike
We
into
did,
Yosemite.
Jacinto.
Yeah, that's what it is, Yosemite. We did that. We didn't do Cucamonga yet. That's the
No,
one that we have to do yet. He's going on the Sierra High route with me for 12 days and with my friend Mark.
mhm.
And what else? I mean,
We paddled. I paddled
we've
for the first
paddled
time
all
out
over
to
the
your
place.
F pen.
Yeah, up to your effing. Yeah. We've just done, and I think that the coolest part has been allowing it to unfold and learning because you've taught me so much. You've taught me about, I mean, I'd never been to the San Juan Islands, and we were
Mhm.
talking about crabbing, and you're the one that booked that ticket that night that where we were out at midnight looking for bioluminescence in a canoe, and or not a canoe, in a
Yeah.
kayak. And you've taught me so much about, first of all, letting me be myself and showing you what I know, and then you learning through that. I think one of the coolest things, and I've always told my clients this, the reason that I love this work is because I could climb the Grand Canyon 100 times, but seeing it through somebody else's eyes and watching them unfold and
Yeah.
like really appreciate and have gratitude for the journey, and me being able to see it through their experience has been awesome. And so that I feel like it's been the same way with this. It's like, thank you for letting me be me and show you what I know so that you can experience it and become who you choose. And the same from my
Yeah.
standpoint.
Yeah. I think we value each other. We may not agree or have the same vision all the time, but we value that person enough that it's worth it to sit back and listen to it and accept it, because you can only control yourself, and we keep doing a better and better job of that.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been real fun. And I always go back full circle to the conversation with my mom. Sometimes I think that we were talking about this morning on the way back. We met my dad at church and then went and visited my mom's gravesite. We were coming back, and I said, sometimes the people that are closest to us, like for me, it was my mom. She knew a lot more about what I needed than what I knew myself. And I think the hardest part was for her sitting back and watching me go through my own learning journey to get to this point today. And so I was sitting here taking notes, and I said, like what got to that point? Because there was a point where I know I was like, I'm not doing this. Like I'm good on my own. I'm got my boys, I'm happy, I'm gonna go travel, I'm gonna speak, I'm gonna do my work and be with my clients and da da da. And I think that there were three things that I wrote down. And one is having awareness. And that means having awareness for the messages and the things that happen along the way that get you to this place in the present moment. And for me, it was having awareness that, wait a second, I distinctly remember having that conversation with my mom and her saying, no, no, this is what I truly think that you should explore, that you may need, that you don't even know. And so I kept going back and having that awareness of that conversation, and also having awareness that what I was picking, my picker was off. and so, and so there you go. It was like, that was a big one. And then the second thing that I wrote down is being open, like staying open to whatever it is that is coming into your life and seeing it for what it is, not what your ego is telling you, right? Like, but truly sitting with and staying open to, hey, wait, maybe this is actually worth exploring. Perhaps this is actually what I need. And if you're not going to stay open to it, you're automatically closing the door to what could be the greatest gift in front of you. Like I wasn't going to respond. It was Stephanie, my dear friend Stephanie, who I told her, I said, hey, like Joe reached out, and she's like, well, did you respond? I'm like, no. And, how rude of me. And I said, she goes, well, why not? And I said, well, I gave her all the reasons why. And she said, okay, wait, like, why would you? That's just ridiculous. And I was like, well, I don't know, like, and she told me one of the biggest things. It was so interesting the way that she brought all this up to me, but she said, you don't know what you don't know, and reach out, because you don't know what you could also be closing the door to without just at least reaching out and saying, hey, let's go grab a beer. Let's connect. So it was a big one for me. Thank you, Steph. And then the third one is reflection. And this has been a big one for me every single day, like reflecting on my rights and reflecting on my wrongs. Reflecting on what I know to be true and what is being triggered from my past. Right. So we're going to a wedding at the end of this week. One of my clients is getting married. And she told me that one of the things that she and her now fiance do, and I highly, highly suggest that you do this, because this is something that we've kind of incorporated, is at the end of every week, and I know I'm not doing it exactly how she does it or had told me, but they talk about what was the hard moment and what do we wish for more? Like, what is it that we would like to see more of? Like, what are the things, what was the hard moment within the week, within the relationship? And then also, where can we do better for ourselves and for one another? Right. So, and I think that's a fantastic thing to incorporate into any relationship.
Communication.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to add? Because I know that as happens.
Oh, just all that stuff. It's funny because you say reflection, and I sit there in church, and I go to church just when Sarah takes me to church. I used to be an altar boy and do all that.
Yeah, I was altar girl. Literally, we literally, like, I was an altar girl. You were an altar boy.
But some of those messages you do think like you were meant to hear, like the few things that stuck out, because it was a long sermon or whatever.
Oh man.
But he talked about how when God's sitting with you in the room with all your sins and problems, the elephant in the room is sitting there, but he only sees you. And that made me think about so many people afraid to make changes or not living because they're focused on this pile of problems or what they see as problems, all this drama, instead of going out and living. And I think I'd like that's what we do so often, is we make the most of our moments together. One, because of long distance and we value that time greatly, but even because we just want to live now. We're not going to just sit back and worry about all the problems and worries and the mistakes we made in the past. That it's work every day, but just go out there and choose to live.
You're a very smart man, Joe.
And the other when you said the choice, what is it? Take a chance. You're afraid of change, whatever.
Yeah.
Another saying that always sticks in my head is make the choice to take a chance to make a change.
Ooh.
So if you're stuck where you are, you're not happy where you are. That's always the key indicator. I've learned that from this woman here, is then make a choice to take a chance to make a change. Otherwise,
you're stuck.
What's there to lose? You got one life, right?
Exactly. That we know of. Exactly. Dang, that was good.
Thank you.
A lot like this. This is the inside scoop. Anyhow, okay. So 3 things: awareness, openness, reflection. Awareness, openness, reflection. Keep on that journey. And then definitely use what my clients used as well. And we get to go to her wedding at the end of the week. So congratulations to Lauren and Sean. I love you like crazy. And I think that's it. Please go in and subscribe to the podcast, share this with your friends, rate, review, do all the things, comment. And if you put it in your social media, tag me and I will reshare in mine, because that's how we blow this thing up and how we help one another. Any last words?
Just openness. I love the openness that we have with each other, because the old saying again, we're not mind readers.
Yeah.
Communicate, don't hold it in. Be open and honest with each other and hear the other person out.
Yeah. Love it.
All right.
All right. Peace out. Have a great day.